Hey guys, we're going to do a reading, and I had a revelation today. Something that has been coming up in my readings when reading on Trump and various things, or something that I've said in a lot of my reads that kept showing up. And I would say it, I would mention it, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was coming from. But now I understand. And sometimes that happens. You could be a reader and you could be reading on something and you keep seeing something showing up. And you know it's important, and you know that's the message. And I gave the message. But I wasn't sure exactly where it was coming from until now. It dawned on me when I was watching the women, the victims of the Epstein saga. Their testimony came out today. They spoke. It's all over the place. And it's powerful. And I've already read on the Epstein how it would impact. But even before that, when I would read on various things coming up, with Trump and whatever stuff's going on, here comes Empress and Queens and all kinds of stuff powerfully. And I told you guys, the women that are coming are going to be powerful. And I would say that in multiple reads. But, who are these women, right? Now I know who they are. Now I understand. But it's not even the Epstein women. What's crazy, this is the funny thing, and I've talked on it, this would be way back. Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she is coming out as a voice of sanity, and even Lorraine Boebert is saying release the Epstein files. And then Nancy Mace, yes, when she talks about the trans, is terrible. But even she is a sexual abuse, I'm going to say it quietly on YouTube, survivor. And today she met with some of the Epstein survivors, and they talked to her. And they showed her running out, looking clearly upset about what they had to say. That's the thing when you're a woman, and women are telling a story like this. But now with some of the MAGA women, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lorraine Boebert, Nancy Mace, and stuff. And they're saying, release the Epstein files. This has been the mantra for a while now. It's been coming. But I couldn't help but think of that. I was listening to them tonight. And then everything went clickety click click. I've been talking about women coming out as a powerful force. In these readings, they would show that they would change the game. And now I know who they are. But not even just them, though they're powerful, their voice. But even other women, like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lorraine Boebert, Nancy Mace, even they're, it's kind of hard to hide the fact you're a woman listening to women and their story is true. That all of a sudden, that, you are who you are. Because that's one thing. Women, we have empathy and compassion, and we have hearts, and we have a mothering, nurturing nature, and we have a healing. And even in the toughest of ladies stuff, it's real hard to avoid that core nature. What is happening here? Very powerful what is going on. But they kept showing in my reads over and over. Something's going to go happen. Something about the women are going to change the game. It's crazy. And then they're talking about, well, you don't want to release the list? We'll release our list because we know who they are. And man, that takes a lot of courage. And those ladies need protection. They need protection. Let's kind of go ahead and let's just do a read. But I realize it. Let's see. Let's see what comes up. I'm very curious. I'm going to just do a quick one tonight. But it needs to be said. Very interesting. This card can be about walking away. And I feel there are those. It's reversed. There are those who have tried to get these women to walk away from this. Just go away, just go away, just leave it behind, go on with your life, this and that. But it's like they're walking back to the past to reveal it. But there are those who try to get them to walk away, pay them off, be silent, all that stuff. But, you know, when you've got the President of the United States trying to say it's a Democratic hoax, here they come, walking back, going, no, we can't walk away from this. It's not over yet. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure people tried to, you know, the big money and all that. You know, they're talking about their stories. You know, they were paid this, that for Epstein, and oh my God, it's tragic and stuff like that. I'm sure people have tried, you know, buy them off, buy their silence. See, the thing, there probably is some survivors out there who were paid off to be quiet and just go away. But I look at this magician energy that is popping up in here, which is very interesting. That as above, so below, that power, that energy, and everything that's coming in here, which is about the divine will and everything, you know, it can be about that. There are those like a magician who would like this to disappear, but it's meant to appear. It's not meant to disappear. It's meant to appear. It's meant to be acknowledged. It's been a very slow process. This is something years on end. It is dragged on. The Epstein files and everything dragged on so slowly. I look at the Nine of Cups energy. I think of those who have a lot of accomplishments and things like that, who've managed to hide behind their wealth, their power, and they're almost arrogant about it, you know, and everything like that, you know, and this is the one thing that would just totally take them down. We definitely know, yes, there it is, the Ace of Pentacles, just so much wealth. This is the reason why. This is the big, it's money. You know, those that paid to make this all go away, but it keeps, yeah, the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, this is about the rich, those with all the fortune, those without the power, or with the power, excuse me, that have all that. This is the one thing that has kept it silent for so long. But they're speaking out. They've got a lot of courage and stuff. And I feel like when I see this balance card, the Two of Pentacles and everything, I see the ship and the waves. This is definitely making waves in DC, in the movement. A lot of people are nervous. It's inevitable that ship is going to sink here. How does Trump feel about this? Well, I've got, you know, as I kind of look at his position, the Page of Pentacles, which can be either male or female. I'm going to go ahead and lean on the female. Young ladies. Sensitive, young youth. And then I've got this out in the cold energy here. You know, that just kind of put all these ladies out in the cold. He doesn't give a damn about them and everything. The Lovers reverse. You know, and so this sometimes can be a sexuality type of energy, you know, and stuff like that. You know, all this energy here and stuff. He knows a lot about what went on. But yeah, as far as moving away from troubled water, that's definitely something Trump wants to do. He wants to move on. He wants to get away from this. He wants it to all go into history, but he can't. He's in the thick of the troubled water and stuff like that. The King of Cups, I kind of feel, as I look at that, I feel this is kind of the Epstein, energy. I feel he just played on the emotions of these ladies and manipulated them, but there's the Empress. As she came up in a lot of my reads, the women standing in power. The Empress is the most powerful of the feminine, the divine feminine, and it's the one thing that's eclipsing it all. No, we can't move away from troubled water. This has to be dealt with. It has been an absolute collapse. What is coming is more and more collapse with the Tower, the outcome card and stuff. Yes, Queen of Wands energy, women of power stepping forward. But I've also got that Strength reversed card. They are hoping they are not as strong of a force as they can be and stuff like that. They're trying to weaken them, but they are coming together. So one of the things I do say, as individual ladies, they're weaker. But if they solidify, that's where they find their strength. Right now, they're trying to weaken them and everything like that. But when they come together, there is power. The Empress showed up a lot in those reads with the divine feminine, the women, and there it is, and it shows up again. And even, Queen, they want to weaken them. They want them to go away. They want to move away from the troubled water that they're in. There are those, and I do feel there are some who took money to walk away and never talk. They're trying to get more to come forward, but there were those that were paid off. Or we would see way more women speaking on the news right now. But you could see that Wheel of Fortune, you could see those that have accomplished a lot in their life and so forth, endless money and wealth and everything. And that's the one thing, they don't want that impacted by what these ladies could reveal. The women are coming to power and stuff, but they're going to try to weaken them and everything. But I feel that the main thing, just to give a quick read on this tonight, is if they stay together strongly and stuff, they could be a force. They could definitely be a force and everything. But, as far as, I feel a lot of people in Congress, there are those that don't want this stuff released, but they can talk. And as long as they stick together, they could, like I said, you saw the Tower, a lot of this shit go crumbling down. I do hope this helps.